This Flora Italian fig looks like it has 2 or 3 little figlets, baby figs on it. We are finally back to my camera, my phone, with a new camera lens on it. Hopefully it's just as good as the other one, or it could be a cheap aftermarket one. We'll see, I guess, when we upload these videos here. Christmas loquat that was like an 8-foot tree, and you can see where I cut it there. And as soon as I cut it, all the energy from the root system and all is now going mostly to that, and maybe to create a few extra buds, which I'll just flick off. So this guy's definitely got a lot of height already after we cut that, and I've noticed that with a few things. Once you get that mother rootstock cut off, this takes over. All the energy goes to your scion, your grafted pieces. Here's our most vigorous, newly grafted mulberry, that blackbird mulberry. We grafted it down here, and it's got like 2.5 foot of growth, in a month and a half or less. Strawberry loquat graft, still going strong, but definitely not as vigorously growing because it's on a little stick versus like a several-year-old big old tree. Those wild blueberries that we got very little root on, and as you can see, some of them died. That guy looks like it might have grown. It looks like we got some new growth here on that one. That guy could be dead or dying, or it might come back. I didn't really have a lot of hope, in getting this guy to survive, but even if one makes it, that's pretty good. Little American persimmon seedlings here, they really need to be repotted into their own pot. But hopefully in about 1.5 to 2 years, these guys will be rootstock for more grafting. Here we have, I guess, some baby Barbados cherries. I don't know, these guys should start producing some fruits. The first time it actually flowered this year, it just didn't get enough pollination or something. Now it's kind of blooming again, and we got a lot of blooms and stuff. And I expect probably 30 or 50 or more throughout the summer. It's like we got probably a nice bounty of these red catlay guavas here. And I expect, the next couple years to bring a lot of fruit. I want to show you guys something that I'm very surprised I just found. I thought this was long dead. This was like months ago. I put this little graft piece on a pineapple guava seedling. I think this is one of the cultivars we already had that I broke unintentionally, and I just, grafted it here, and it's been looking like a dead piece of stick for months, and now we got growth, budding out, So I'm kind of wondering if any of these other guys, this is 8-ball, I think, will eventually just bud out. That guy looks a little bit dark, so I'm not sure. But this was probably grafted a few weeks after the other ones, so let's give this guy a couple more weeks and see if it buds. Let me just tell you something else. For the heck of it, I took one of these cuttings, I guess probably from when I was grafting. I think I took 2, and I just stuck down here, and it is still green. I think there's another one in all that grass and weeds, unless it died. So at least one of them may have actually just rooted, and throughout all that drought with minimum water or rain. Yeah, there could be a second one there. I'm not going to pull it out just in case it, doesn't have roots or has some roots that are just going to break. But if that survives, I'll just let it grow there, and we can use it as grafting material. I'm kind of surprised this Raja and Pei on this mystery pear, which these are like Asian or Asian hybrid pears, did not take. But drought, lack of rain, probably should have tried it a little bit earlier in the season, but hopefully we got at least one of each on one of the grafts we took. We did it on like 3 or 4 different trees and rootstocks, so hopefully we get one of each to take. So this was that pineapple guava that broke off the top pretty easily, and we grafted, and it's Anatoki, which is, I guess, a New Zealand variety, and it's looking rough. It doesn't like the drought either. So this is our original mayhaw tree, And I think if this year is any sign, this is a June haul. I've been finding a few berries on the ground again in June, and there's still some berries up there in the actual tree I see that are holding on, and they're actually maybe pretty larger than normal. I wonder if that's going to be the norm, or if it's just our weird double droughts over the last year causing it to grow some bigger berries and some later ripening. Probably get a ladder and go grab some of them berries to show you, but the yellow flies and mosquitoes are horrible out here, so I need to keep moving. So this is our KSU Atwood graft on this Tennessee seedling here, pawpaw. And all this died down to about right here for whatever reason. I don't know why, but it had growth out here. And these are the original leaves. They were just like wrinkling up and dying and getting brown. Something must have tagged it. Bacteria, fungus, insect, I don't know. Yellow flies are terrible. But it is still alive. It's got all this growth here, and hopefully it'll keep doing good. Did I talk on a previous video about how densely packed these figs on the Celeste fig? This is like a 45 plus year old fig tree. Look how densely packed the fruit are. Hundreds of figs on this little guy. Well, it's not really super small. I don't prune it every year. It's probably at its height, it's probably about 9 or 10 foot tall. It's probably got about a 12 foot or so round spread. So I haven't updated this guava lately, that we put it in the ground here in the wettest area of our property, building up this area. And this is when we noticed there were no insects, no earthworms or anything. So we're building kind of a mycorrhizal raised bed, adding lime and stuff to it, adding earthworms. So let's see how it does. But definitely some fruit already. Look at that. Although, you know, it was just stressing too much in the pot and it was dying from the top, and it looks like half of it or 2/3 have died. So we might snip that off. May not even need to. So hopefully we at least get some fruit before it gets cold, and cross our fingers that it survives the winter and thrives. So we are walking over here where Everbearing dwarf seedlings 3, 4, and 5 originally were. Now we have number 5 here, and we moved these other ones maybe about 30 foot away. So obviously they got some yellowing and some browning of the leaves, but there's some green there, and I expect hopefully a few rains. All those leaves, or most of them, will fall, and then we'll get some green buds and then some leaves. And maybe a month from now, we'll see some new growth. Same here. Looks like this one's already got a little bud that's already leafing out, so we're already seeing some growth there. Hopefully we ain't gotta continue watering it here. Hopefully we'll get some rain and keep these guys happy, and these will be sort of experimental. So that Brazos Bell avocado back here in the wettest area of our property, we did a video a while back, not too long ago, about it dead or dying, being dead or dying. And then there's a little growth above the graft there, so it's still hanging on. And I really don't understand it, because look at all the shade here. Drought or not, it's not getting beaten and battered. But maybe just because this bed is raised up 10 or 12 inches and it's not mature yet, and it's not dense enough as everything is breaking down, that it's not holding moisture, like it doesn't have as much moisture retention as we need. But hopefully, yeah, if it survives another year or two, hopefully this bed will be mature enough and this guy will start doing something for us. But who knows? We're still not in the heat of the summer. One of the things that I've considered was just going out and chopping a bunch of white mulberry, limbs, rooting them and using them for grafting, and just planting them all over here or in pots or whatever and grafting with them. But I've sort of decided to at least get somewhat superior cultivars as rootstock. You know, whether it's Illinois everbearing or dwarf everbearing or 6th Street or something else that is known to have some sort of nematode resistance, so that if that grafts don't take, or if they fell over the years and the rootstock's still alive, we get something with a decent quality fruit on it. I guess seedlings are fun, to a certain extent, but I don't want to wait 6 or 10 or 12 years to find out the quality of those guys suck. So this is going to be fun to grow out these 5 dwarf everbearing seedlings to see what happens, and any other ones that come up, that'll probably be just for grafting, I don't know, or just give them away. I'm not so much into the experimentation of dwarf everbearing stock. And a big part of that is I know that some of them, like I think either Jan's Best or Lakeland Tropical, is based on that, is a seedling from one or both. And it was supposed to have bigger, fruit. But I want something different as well. Big, that the reality is, everything that I've tasted, those dwarf everbearings are the best. If I can get bigger, which I do have Lakeland Tropical if they root, I have Jan's Best if it roots or graft take. I want the next thing to be something that tastes different, and not like the Morse Alba, not like the insipid sweet stuff, and not like something that tastes like a lemon. I want something that tastes different. Anyway, there's not much new to report right now. So there's, in a few weeks we should know when some of those mulberries we recently got, if they're starting to root or if they're just shooting their, plant energy out for 2 to 3 inches of growth, and then are they going to turn brown and die, and hopefully we'll have a little better understanding of which grafts they're going to take. But I'm not going to show you that right here in this video, knowing that mulberries are notorious for shooting out growth even when they don't take.